you've got a building that's reaching over the top of another building. You know you own the footprint of the dirt, but is your piece of property infinitely large as it traces out into space?
No, because
it would continue forever though. We're on a sphere, and it would actually grow outward, and it would grow outward forever, and you would have infinite property.
Literally doesn't make sense.
I no longer own 2 acres, Tyler.
There are rules against that.
I own infinite acres, Tyler.
Literally rules against that.
What is the elevation at which you cease to own the airspace above your land?
And I could go back and watch.
That's what you would do?
Well, I wouldn't watch them in the shower.
All right.
I wouldn't want it.
Let's get out of here.
Let's move
Because this
on.
is getting awkward. Think about this. This is going to blow your mind.
Dude, I was worried that the weather was going to get really bad. Yeah, that's right. We're starting with the weather today. No, so the Weather Channel or whatever in our neck of the woods said it was going to be the end of the world. Frankly, I feel fine.
Can you tell me something? Can you give me...
Did you catch that? Did you catch it?
Yes.
And I feel fine.
I feel fine.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. And that was well before your generation.
Thank you.
And also...
Yes.
When did we start naming winter storms? Can you like tell me when winter storms started getting names?
No.
They had, I wanted to say the last one was named Sven.
Sven?
But it wasn't.
It was not
Flynn.
hurricane.
I want to say it was Flynn. It came through.
Winter Storm Flynn.
Not
Sven.
Not Sven.
That's
Sven would have been
different.
better because Frozen. Yeah. Would have been a good one.
Would have been funny if it was like Elsa or something like that. That'd have been perfect.
Winter Storm should be named after Frozen characters.
I have a daughter. I've seen those movies so many freaking times. Like
Winter Storm Olaf.
Watch out, everybody. You might be impaled.
Oh, no. I've been impaled.
I've been impaled. Well, you know what won't impale you is buildings that are bent like that.
You working too hard.
That was working way too.
No, way too hard.
Okay, all right.
0 points awarded.
Sorry.
And may God have mercy on your soul. I would say that there's no good way of getting a transition over to this. We just need to start going. I feel like the Tonight Show guy whenever I have the papers.
You need to stop that, man. Making me nervous.
Making me nervous.
No, so our researcher extraordinaire, Mr. Lee.
Shout out Lee.
Shout out to Lee. Mm-hmm. Doing his deal.
Making us sound smart.
Every day.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, what?
I heard something.
Yeah.
I heard this on the social medias, so it's got to be true.
Obviously.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you prepare for a meeting, you actually come in and your appearance as though you were 20 IQ points higher than if you had not.
I mean, it makes sense.
So Lee is actually making us look an easy 20 IQ points higher because he prepared for us.
Dude, I could use every point I can get. That's for
yeah,
sure.
I
know you can.
None to spare.
None
to spare.
They're all taxed.
All right, so back to the bend. Big bend.
Well, we're covering 2 things today, though. All right?
In the line.
Hey, all right. So we're talking about...
Hey.
We're talking about 2 things today.
Yeah.
The Big Bend. Not Big Ben. No.
With a D. B-E-N.
Bend.
D.
And the line.
In the line.
These are 2 different projects in 2 different locations. They're really kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Because one is really constrained and the other one is not.
One is actually being built and one is actually not.
And that too. Guess which one? So, all right. Let's start with the Big Bend. What you got? Describe the Big Bend.
Okay. Let's see. Magnet. A magnet is shaped like a U, like that horseshoe magnet. So take a magnet. I'm trying to describe this in a way that all of our listeners can understand. Take a magnet and then just grow the legs down longer.
What?
Until you have, like, if you were to measure the length of the magnet up one leg, over the arch and down the other, you would have 4,000 foot of length. Okay, so there's your description. Why are you laughing?
So hard.
Why are you laughing? This is an accurate description of the bend. It's what it sounds like, man. It's a bend. It's a building that bends.
I thought you were going to go with the analogy that I gave you earlier. It's like you take the St. Louis Arch and take the two bottom pieces and go
that works
towards
too.
each other. Like you just
I like my magnet
push them in. But the magnet thing is...
Grow the legs.
That's
got
creative.
The magnet.
I got to give you some props
it's like a very
for that.
long magnet.
Okay, so the
Not
big
quite
bend...
a bobby pin. More of a magnet. All right, so...
Well, the bobby pins have a little... like that little squiggly thing on there.
There's no squiggles. All right,
no squiggles.
So here's the fun thing about this. It's a concept building. So the design was done in 2017 is when this was designed. So the target site was on Billionaires Row.
In New York City.
Yeah. So.
Concrete jungle. Where dreams are made of, everybody.
Obviously.
I have to say that every single time we say New York City.
Okay. So obviously you've got, some constraints.
Just a few buildings.
Just a few. And when you go and build there, the premium is for the real estate footprint.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get that real estate footprint, then you go vertical.
Yep.
And you try to go, I guess, vertical to a point where you're getting an ROI from, what you're putting there. And this is residential.
Well, now this is what I thought is that there's FAR. Floor area ratio. Yeah, that's right. Lee.
Very nice. You read Lee's notes.
Lee made me look really smart.
You read Lee's notes.
Yeah, so there's floor area ratio.
I see that in the bullet point right
but doesn't
here.
that also, I think that also corresponds to height. So you can't go over a specific height with that floor area ratio. So I think the bend is actually, they're trying to kind of bend.
The rules. I see what you're doing there. All right, that's nice. Well done.
Bend it.
They're
like
bending
Beckham, back around, and basically they're not exceeding that height restriction
for the New York building code.
Yeah.
Okay,
so they're able to get around a lot of the zoning from that. Or
so they're bending the rule, bending the code, as it were, with a bent building. And okay, here's the most fun thing. Here's the most fun thing.
Did the architect just go, it would be funny is if we bent the rule by actually bending the building. Like, this was like a drunk revelation that he had one night, she had one night. They were just like, you know what? We could bend the rules here with a bent building. That's just like, or a shower thought, Like, I want to be in the room when this happened. If I had a time machine and I could go back and watch.
That's what you would do?
Well, I wouldn't watch him in the shower.
All right.
I wouldn't want to.
Let's get out of here. Because this is getting awkward.
I wouldn't want to do.
I want to hit you with this so bad because I think it is this sent me into philosophy because I went, oh, that is brilliant. I haven't thought of that. Maybe some of you have, but I didn't. I've just never gotten here. Lee brought this up.
Okay.
But this whole thing, all right, so let's say you bend this building over.
Like Beckham.
Another building. In this instance,
Mm-hmm.
Calvary Baptist Church. And I love Lee saying, so what if all of Billionaires Row comes to Jesus and Calvary Baptist Church needs to grow, vertically to the moon? And I mean, you can't fit them all in anymore. So you need a 50-story church. Moral of the story is that you've got a building that's reaching over the top of another building.
Uh-huh.
So what's the rule? So on the airspace above a building, right? You own the footprint of the dirt, but think about this. This is going to blow your mind.
I'm ready.
If you own the space above,
I'm with you.
Is your piece of property infinitely large as it traces out into space?
No, because
it would continue forever, though, in a... you see what I'm saying?
That's not how zoning works.
We're on a sphere,
that's not,
and it would actually grow outward, and it would grow outward forever, and you would have infinite property.
Literally doesn't make sense.
I no longer own 2 acres, Tyler.
There are rules against that.
I own infinite acres, Tyler.
Literally rules against that, preventing you from doing that thing.
Okay,
airplanes.
What is the elevation at which you cease to own the airspace above your land?
It's based off of the It's based off of the FAR, the floor area ratio.
Not theoretically. That's just New York building code. Well, what if you're not in New York? What if you're building in Idaho and they don't care? What if you have a cornfield in Idaho?
Those potatoes. What if you had a potato field in Idaho?
Okay, what if Farmer Joe has a potato field? And then Farmer Sam moves in and he buys a potato field on the left side and the right side of Farmer Joe. And then he wants to connect them with a conveyor belt over Farmer Joe's land and he conveys the potatoes back and forth.
Okay, here's the thing is that I know for a fact because I've been reading the Jesus Storybook Bible to my daughter at night. And we went through
dying for this time.
the Tower of Babel. All right, so you're essentially building the freaking Tower of Babel again, okay?
I don't
if you
know.
take it infinitely, at some point, I wonder where the height restriction is for language switchage. Like, at what point, like, Eddie, if you and I were to build a building, yeah? Infinitely, we just kept stacking. Like, we just kept going. At what point would you start speaking Mandarin? That's what I want to know.
I don't know, but this reminds me of so many things. One is a Simpsons episode with the sideways drilling company where
I haven't seen that one, no.
you got a piece of land and somebody, comes in with the sideways oil drilling company, and they come in and drill sideways in to tap into the oil underneath your land and pull it out.
Yeah.
The other one is, oh brother, where art thou? Where he said he'd been forgiven for his sins. And he was like, well, maybe forgiven in the eyes of the Lord, but the state of Mississippi is a little more hard-nosed. This is apparently New York City is a little more hard-nosed about the whole, tower thing.
Just a little bit.
Or I don't know. Maybe God is because he didn't like the Tower of Babel. Here's the thing. Holy cow, we're off the rails. Here's the thing. Why does this happen when we get Lee's research in front of us? Why?
Take it.
Why does this happen? We get a serious topic, Tyler, and we butcher it beyond all recognition.
It's like when the kid gets a hold of E.T., all right? And E.T.'s all dressed up and looking interesting.
With lipstick on?
Yes, that's essentially what we do to Lee's research.
All right. Well,
yep.
Here we are.
Cool.
I think it's an interesting concept. Who owns the airspace over the building? And at what point? Because if you are under the threshold and you are meeting code, what would govern what allows you to go over the top?
That makes sense to me.
Of another building.
Yeah, wouldn't you would need some level of like agreement or permit.
Yeah, like
would
would you
would need to agree
air
with
easement over the top?
But if they were building over like a Baptist church, right? Is this maybe I'm crazy. Is this an old Baptist church? Yeah, sure. Why not? We're going to go with it.
It's in the middle of New York City. I
would think
it's been there.
Yeah, it's been there for a minute. Maybe it's under like the Historical Preservation Society's rule and it can't be destroyed or anything like that. Like, you can't renovate it. It has to be like that. So it's under protection. So there's no possibility that the thing would ever go upward.
Well,
so are you in fact infringing on it if it's a historical artifact of some sort, like the freaking Ark of the Covenant? Lord, please don't strike me down today.
Okay.
I'm saying
listen to this. All right. If through some architectural and engineering feat, we could master this whole bend or sideways building bit, could we make New York City look like the hamster tunnels that happen, like where they just weave and you'd have buildings weaving in and out of buildings like a giant hamster cage?
Yes.
Yes. It really is a fascinating thought experiment when you take this one building and you go, okay, one little bend of the rules. And then you're like, well, what if somebody else did the same thing, only in a more pronounced fashion? Like, what if it's not next door lots over one other lot? What if it's lots that are 4 lots away?
Why are we not building
or block away?
Why are we not building like ants do? Yeah, tunnels.
It's interesting.
I mean, that'd be fun.
Oh, another thing is, guess what the elevator can do in this building? Yeah,
it goes sideways.
It can accommodate.
Did they steal that from the Tower of Terror?
Tower of Terror does do that.
Tower of Terror does do that. It leaves its tracks and it like creeps out and stuff like that. That's immediately what I thought of. I truly wonder if there's some tie to Disney with that elevator system that is apparently it is in existence.
You're going to love me for this because there is not a tie to Disney that we know of to this.
Okay.
But there are ties in the next thing we're going to talk about. The line.
That was a good transition. That was a really good
The line
transition.
has ties to Epcot.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
The experimental prototypical City of Tomorrow. I think I didn't butcher that.
I think you actually got that right.
Epcot, yeah. All right, so did you know that's what Epcot meant? It is.
I did know.
It was supposed to be a functioning city. And there is a podcast on that, and it is really fun. So go listen to it.
Was that 99% Invisible?
Oh, man, I'm trying to.
That sounds like something that they would cover.
I thought this was a Business Movers.
It might have been.
On Disney. Sure. The Disney episode.
Sure, why not? We'll go with that. That's cool.
I'm almost certain of it.
Business Movers is a great show, too. You should definitely check that out after you finish this episode.
It's much better than ours. All right. So here's the thing is there is another prototype city being built. And this one is in Saudi Arabia. It's called The Line.
Which is the one where there are fewer rules and regulations.
Well, you say that, but this is the one that is actually being,
this one's actually being built.
It's actually being built, but it's controlled too by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, which makes it very interesting to do research on. It's one of the things that Lee has said is it's very difficult to find information on this that hasn't been provided by basically the entity that they've created.
So we're going to get wild up in here today because we have no idea what's going on in this thing, is what you're telling me.
What we know what they want us to know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like we don't have third parties covering this and going over and exploring it. We know what they tell us. And so very interesting. You want to hit the stats?
Oh, yeah, I can definitely hit the stats.
Let's hear about this.
Okay, so the line itself is 110 miles long, which is 16 miles longer than the distance from New York City to Philadelphia. That's pretty long. 660 feet wide and 1,600 feet tall, which is crazy to me because the building that we just discussed, was that 2,000 feet tall?
Yeah, because it's 4,000 feet total. So it's like 2,000 feet up over to the center and then 2,000 feet from the center over down, back and down. Yeah.
Right. So this thing is, the line is 1,600 square feet. So there's a 400-foot difference, but it's 110 miles long.
Yeah.
So it just takes off in that direction, 110 miles. That's nuts. 140 modules, and the target population. So I guess that modules would allude to the fact that it was prefab in some capacity. That'd be interesting. Jeez, that's a big module. Target population for this is 450,000 people by 2026, and 1.5 to 2 million people by 2030, and 9 million people by 2045. That's based off of projections and stuff. Estimated cost is $500 billion with a B.
With a B.
Billion.
Yeah, not quite a trillion though.
Not quite a trillion. You know, I think they could have gone harder here, personally.
It could have.
I think they
just been like,
why didn't they make it 115 miles, 120 miles? Like, geez, what's stopping you then?
200 kilometers.
Why stop there?
In the non-Americans.
What's that?
Yeah.
That's like, to me, it's interesting because there aren't the constraints on this one. Not as many, we'll say, because there aren't other existing structures around it, right? This is I'm not going to say out in the middle of the nowhere, but this is in a much more rural area.
You say constraints? Yeah, it's in the desert. They're trying to make use of desert because that's what they have.
Yes.
You say constraints. Yeah, maybe there aren't like constraining factors around the city, this line that they're creating, but there is a lot of governance and planning. And so it's not some free-for-all. This is like a highly organized effort. And that was one of the cool takeaways in this is, when you're looking at it, this is a from scratch project.
Yeah.
Right? That they just kind of threw everything away and said, well, what if, right? Let's just design from nothing. And
well, hey, I love the connection to the Crystal Palace on this.
Yeah, how they got the idea.
That's really cool because they got this through a contest.
Yep.
They held a contest like
Came
Crystal
down to
Palace.
one person.
Yeah. And they said, hey, why don't we just make this massive line thing? And they were like, sweet.
When you look at this thing, and we'll get these images flashed on YouTube for you, but when you look at this thing, it's like two walls and a bunch of stuff, a city in between. It just goes and goes for this 110-mile long stretch.
Is it open in the middle? Like, is that kind of the situation? Is it like you've got some fresh air in the middle of the line? Or is it like, no, it's all completely enclosed?
Yeah, it's open in the middle. It's almost like you've created a corridor.
Yeah.
Which would be important, I guess, in the desert, that if you've got walls, they go all the way down this thing. And I mean, it's not a small swath. I mean, 660 feet wide. It really,
that's not
probably from a pretty good elevation, does look like just a line.
Yeah.
But the walls go up, and I guess the concept imagery shows that you can like kind of look down into it.
Yeah.
But it's creating shade in the desert.
Right.
So
it's a unique design.
Very much.
Very unique, obviously. And so some of the goals. So goal upon completion, no streets or cars.
Can I just, before you leave, no, another tie to the Crystal Palace. I don't want to miss this one.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Crystal Palace, guy that designed that was what? The botanist, gardener.
He's a gardener.
This guy, the creative director, had a background in science fiction movies.
Seems about right.
Seems
about right. I'm not kidding. I'm watching The Creator right now. The movie. Oh, so good. So stinking good. I could talk about the film crap on that. I'm not going to do it. This is a construction podcast. Anyway, watching that. And I'm like reading through these facts. I'm like thinking of The Creator the whole time. I'm like, this is just like, yes, this is sci-fi.
Yeah.
This is hardcore sci-fi.
All right. You were about to make points. Go back.
What was I going to make? Oh, yeah. Goal upon completion. No streets or cars.
Yeah.
No cars. 110 miles. So that's pretty interesting. They're going to have like not escalators, but just like they're going to have like tubes, I guess. They're going to shoot people through this thing. Is that how this is going to work? Like, how are they going to travel in it?
This is elevators that run constantly, just like a subway. According to Lee's research.
Subway.
A high-speed subway.
Okay.
So just, I think.
Is it a monorail?
Interesting transit.
That'd be cool.
A monorail?
A monorail.
Maybe.
I don't know if that's not really high speed though. This
whole thing makes me look, I kind of wrote down, this reminds me of live, work, play communities that we create, because these modules, like they design a module and it's supposed to be designed almost like a city unto itself, right? So I'll have like this little functioning module so you don't have to jump from like your immediate surroundings and travel 16 miles away to the end of the line to go to something you need. You're going to have it kind of in your immediate vicinity.
Yeah.
So there's going to be planning and design based around you having what you need, live, work, play there. Which is...
So there's like some repetition there. It's like the grocery store, you're not going to need to travel all the way down to the end of the line. It's like, no, you're going to have a grocery store every...
stores, retail spaces. Bam. All right, next module. Education, stores, retail spaces.
Yeah.
Restaurants, recreation. Yeah. So this is like kind of stamping it down the line.
Yeah.
Where you have modules.
Down the line.
That's, I don't know, it's very interesting.
Down the line.
Hey, very interesting too. They're looking at the, like, basically using what I can understand as seawater. And so they were going to basically take the salt out of water in order to pump water into the city.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So that's the I mean, as I understand it, extensive desalination.
Yeah.
I mean, saline water is salt water, so here you are.
Yep. Okay.
We'll link the show notes for your future reading on it. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, viewing pleasure.
Obviously, going for renewable resources like renewable energies and things of this nature. I mean, prefab, gold, 90% prefab, 90%.
I wonder how big these modules are really gonna like. Because it said up here, what was the module size again? 140 modules, 200 meters by 800 meters. That's a lot of feet by some feet. So like it was 800 meters, 2,624 feet. So that's a big module. That's a good grief, man. So they're doing 2,600 foot of this thing at a time and dropping that in as a module.
Well, what's interesting is that enables you to start inhabiting it.
Yeah, I mean, you literally have to in order to start paying for the freaking thing.
I think and speaking of that, they're going to IPO at least a certain portion.
This is going to be like a cruise ship, you know? Like, will they have like all you can eat buffets and stuff like that? And then you can buy like a drink pass and they'll have like slides and different things like that. This is an interesting thought because why do you have to do that on a cruise ship? It's because you got to have a level of control. Like you can't go free for all. Like you need to be able to help people do the things when you want them to do them. How do you get out of the line? That's what I want to know. Is like how do you get in it? And then how do you get out? Is it just like, can you just leave? Or do you just like commit to living there? Like
quadcopter.
I mean, that'd be pretty cool.
You leave by a quadcopter, you just take off. But then you land in the desert.
You're like, well, this sucks. All right.
Yeah. It's like 140 degrees and you're like, I want back in the line now.
I want
Give me back
the water.
in line.
Give me that unsalted water, please. Yeah. Well, this is an interesting project for sure. And so what is the goal is that they're starting to occupy it by 2026, which is 2 years from now.
Yeah. So what they're documenting right now is that they have 60,000 construction workers right now working on it. NEOM, I guess, is the entity that's actually doing the project. I mean, there are job listings, right? I mean, even for BIM engineers, I wonder what they pay. I don't know.
It's NEOM. I read that as meow. Oops. Anyway, I might have dyslexia. Anyway,
so this is a real and working project. I think it's interesting because this has been released by a government ministry and there is some notion of like control of the rhetoric that escapes. You wonder like, how is this being brought to bear? But they're paying apparently very special attention to working conditions, workers' rights, like trying to build in a humanitarian component.
60,000 workers.
Yeah, I mean, I'll spare the politics of that whole bit. But
I don't want to get into that for sure.
What this makes me do though is, well, I love how Lee put this. I'm going to go back to his notes on this, but okay, even if this isn't completed, it will probably spur a lot of ideas within like renewable energy, the water desalination, construction techniques, modularization, things, because they're dreaming and because they're spending the designs, the ideas, these things, like they're not going to be lost. They will be created, and then there will be some example of use. And that a lot of times is the first thing we need to get over in order to start using innovation, is having somebody hit that barrier of entry and like push past it. And they're doing this. So even if they don't complete, even if it's an incomplete project, they're pushing forward.
I love the innovation behind it for sure. I can get behind that. And yeah, even if it's not complete, there will definitely be things that have been learned. Like there will be things that we will be able to draw from on future projects as a result of them probably being a failure on this. I like the boldness of it. You know, I like how bold they were to just say, yeah, we're just doing the thing.
Well,
you know, like, I mean, and even the bend, like if it's not, if it's not getting built, I like the boldness of just being like, yeah, but what if? Yeah.
Well, when you got a lot of oil money, you can do that kind of thing.
Well, that's
Tyler.
true. That's true. We need to get us some of that oil money. Do you want to be an oil baron one day?
Oh, man, it seems like a fun gig.
I think it'd be fun.
I don't even know if it does seem like a fun gig, man.
I don't know.
Blast from the past. You remember when we talked about how
it could be like Scrooge McDuck?
It would be really cool to crawl a model and do like plan review, like city plan reviews via the model and that kind of thing.
Right.
And it came up that, well, this is being done. It's being done in Singapore.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's a small country that is able to control.
Right.
So they dictate.
Yeah.
Which is many times what dictators do. When you're looking at this, it is interesting to note that, you know, when you're able to dictate that things are going to happen a certain way, and you're also able to say, a la Jurassic Park, spared no expense. Just go ahead.
We all know how that ended.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Just don't be the lawyer.
Then you're able to do a lot. Now, you know, just because we can doesn't mean we should, does apply sometimes, particularly when it comes to cloning dinosaurs. But I don't think they're doing doing that here. I think they're, you know, exploring some interesting ideas. But this is a monarchical leader.
Yeah.
And
I just really just want us to reflect on Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park. You know, just kind of his little line in there talking about, you know, it's like the circle of life or whatever it is. I don't know quite. Yeah. Just he had a little line in Jurassic Park that was perfect for this such occasion.
There's one that Dad likes.
What's that?
It's the, you know, first it's ooh and ah, and then it's running and screaming. I think that's Jurassic Park 2. Dad's got that one locked away for you know, conference presentation videos. So if you want the full form of that, invite Larry Campbell to speak at your next conference. I don't know.
It's just going to be a bunch of YouTube clips, but you do have to wait for the ads to finish.
It will be entertaining.
Just wait for the ads. Well, guys, there you have it. Eddie, what did we learn today?
Well, we learned that when you start with no preconceived notions about what you're going to do or what is possible, and you dream things up, that you can come up with some pretty cool stuff.
A bunch of weird crap can come out, that's for sure. Yep.
Weird and cool. Yeah. So
well, I mean, but hey, no.
If you don't dream,
I'll add one to this too. Yeah. Constraints are good for creativity.
Okay.
Constraints are actually really good for creativity. Example of that, Apollo 13, when they had to put the square connector into the round connector, and they had to make that work. As a constraint, right?
That came up in The Martian. That was so fun. Apollo 13 comes up multiple times in The Martian.
Oh, have you finished that book yet?
Oh, dude, I tore through it.
Dude, it's so freaking good.
I think 3-4 days I had it done.
Yeah. Book recommendation, everybody. The Martian. If you haven't read that one yet, it's so good. It's based off of that. Well, it's not based off of the movie is based off of the book by Andy Weir.
Yeah,
I'm recommending the book.
The book's very good.
The movie's great too. Like they did a good job. But
and if you've seen the movie,
awesome.
The book ends differently.
It does. It does. And I was actually I was cracking up a little bit. I was like, holy crap, they did the thing. So yeah
that was a good one.
Yeah. Well, guys, there's your book recommendation, and there's a bunch of other
shenanigans and
gibberish and
whatever.
stuff. Do something with that, I guess, and try to go build something awesome.